How do we get confident as a sales professional in selling to business leaders? Are we being asked to sell business outcomes? Are we being asked to get closer to clients or get closer to senior decision makers, and we find it difficult, we find it daunting, we don't quite know what to say when we're in front of them? Do we find that we are withdrawing and focusing on our product set rather than necessarily listening to our prospect or client in terms of what their requirements are, what challenges they're facing, how their organization's structured, what's going on in their lives, purely and simply because we don't necessarily feel confident in engaging on a business level? Gaining confidence is something that takes time, and it's something that we can build consciously. There's proactive steps that we can take that will help us. It's an iterative process. Gaining our confidence in our ability to engage in whatever our role is with business leaders takes a proactive focus and in many ways a strategic focus. We do this for the long term. There's no on-off switch. We don't suddenly arrive. We get better and better and better over time with practice. And the more knowledge we have, the more confident we tend to feel. And the more experience we have, the more comfortable we tend to feel in the situation. And the better our ability to organize thought, the likelier we are to be able to earn the trust and build credibility in the eyes of our prospects. I say all this based on my experience of 30 plus years of running businesses, developing teams, leading turnarounds and assessing businesses for acquisition. I've led sales teams. I've also, on many occasions, been on the other side of the fence, and that's where much focus is for me on the other side of the fence in helping sales professionals to share the lessons of the good and the bad that I've seen in the way that sales professionals selling products, selling services, engage with business leaders when in front of business leaders. And I think there's two things to think about: is how we equip ourselves and how we operate. And of course, how we equip ourselves is based on our skills, our experience, what we can do, what we know. And of course, that all of this feeds into establishing credibility, and how we operate feeds into trust. It's how we communicate, it's the steps that we take, it's what we do, what we don't do, the speed with which we do stuff, the promises that we do or don't keep to. So it's these two areas, and I think that consciously we can think about how we evolve our capability in both areas by adopting a couple of practices. The first practice is one of reflection. Generally, the better we reflect as an individual, stand back, look back at previous situations, the better we tend to perform. And secondly, the more curious we are, the more questions we ask, the more we learn, and generally speaking, the easier we find it to build relationships, because other folks like talking about their situation and their circumstance and their concerns and their challenges and their opportunities. And so asking questions, having a natural, genuine curiosity, being really keen to understand more about the other is a really compelling attribute to have for us as a professional. And I think the more consciously we can think about our personal development as a sales professional, the likelier that's going to help us in the mid to long term in our role. And to that end, I've developed a strategic reflection workbook which will help you stand back and think carefully about the different flavors of customers that you engage with, because naturally we all have more than one flavor of customer. Some of our customers may well be internal, even if we're an external sales professional. So it'll help you think about the customers and what we need to provide for each of the different flavors of customers in our role, and that will help us have added clarity in how we move forward in what we do day to day. And secondly, to think very clearly and carefully about our professional development, our personal development. I think there's 4 acumens that we need to focus on as an individual. I think clearly we're going to have some sense of technical acumen as a sales professional. We're going to have sales skills, but also we're going to have technical knowledge of the product, service, solution set that we're selling. So that technical acumen is really important. And of course, the other parts of technical acumen also includes some element of planning and some element of projects and troubleshooting of challenges. So these are all technical skills, and they're skills that we evolve, and often we naturally evolve those, but don't necessarily think about the other acumens that are really important in our role. And this applies not just to sales professionals, but across the piece in terms of the various professions across organisations. So the second piece is people acumen. Of course, naturally, we are focused on sales skills, but also as a sales professional, we're also a leader. We have to lead other people, often folks who don't report to us, to get done what we need to get done. So thinking about leadership, thinking about relationship building and communication is really important. So people acumen is important. The third acumen is business acumen. Everything we do is in a business context. Even if operating with a not-for-profit, money still matters and business disciplines still apply. So the better our business acumen, the likelier we are to be successful as an individual. And the fourth piece, and one's often not necessarily consciously considered, but is incredibly important and underpins all of this. It underpins how we equip ourselves, it underpins what we learn about, it underpins how we operate, it underpins our agility, is our cognitive acumen. It's our ability to almost detach ourselves, stand back from situations and critically evaluate our own personal performance, critically evaluate and be aware of the ways that we operate and the impacts the ways that we operate has on those around us, but also to be able to organise our thoughts, to be able to see situations clearly, quickly, for what they are. And that enables us, of course, to be able to better and more quickly spot the challenges that are ahead and the opportunities that may lay in the situation for us. So against that backdrop, this strategic reflection workbook is designed to help you stand back and reflect across the acumens and across the different customer bases. So it's a resource there to use. It's downloadable via the link in the description, so make use of it. It's there as a resource. I hope you've enjoyed this short video. Please do give it a like, please do subscribe. It helps the channel. It'll also help you be notified of any future videos, and I look forward to seeing the next video.